Alright YouTube, so in last night's vlog I mentioned how I had an idea that involved the lead kid from Weapons with a separate vlog, so I'll cut to the chase and talk about this. Is going to be part 2, as you guys saw the title, of the Jones Beach Ben 10 style movie pitch. So let's dive in. And when I mentioned the kid from Weapons, it struck me, and maybe it was because thinking about it, I may have seen something on Reddit about Ben 10 fancast that included the lead kid Alex from Weapons as young Ben 10, because he's like, 9 years old in real life, which is, only a year shy of Ben 10's perfect age. So, once he turns 10, perfect. Yeah, because I think it'd be cool to see like a young little boy get the Omnitrix and have all these cool aliens, especially, Gray Matter, who I actually drew and maybe you guys saw in the thumbnail, but to see this vlog up close, or this drawing up close, it's Gray Matter, and as you can see, he's very, very tiny, as his name would suggest, and it's a penny for scale size. So to be honest, for this particular movie pitch, or rather episode pitch I should say, of the Jones Beach Ben 10 live action series, I'd include Alex from Weapons as Ben Tennyson himself. Not sure about the rest of the cast, to be honest, because I'm not terribly familiar with a lot of young actors and actresses, especially super young ones, but I do think it could be cool to see him, because his performance in this movie was great. It wasn't like, an annoying little kid. I really felt like I was able to sort of in a way relate to him like when I was his age, and I think his character is also kind of similar to Ben in a few of the early episodes of Ben 10, especially the one where they meet the circus freaks, and he has Ghost Freak, who I mentioned would be a great villain for a live action Ben 10 cinematic universe. I think similarly with the upcoming Harry Potter series, which by the way I'll have a Harry Potter vlog shortly. Sorry, I cut myself off too short there. What I was saying was the Harry Potter series, supposedly, I don't really know the exact age of Ron, Hermione, and Harry's actors and actresses, but I do know and have heard the series is going to go on for 10 years and have I think 8 seasons, but they'll do some close together. So hypothetically, I do the same thing with this Ben 10 live action series. Seeing as Weapons is a horror movie and Alex goes through a lot of horror throughout this movie as no dur, especially with the villain of the movie Weapons. I still want to keep this spoiler free from Weapons because it's about Ben 10, but I think that goes almost perfectly with the episode of the circus freaks and the lead clown villain of the Ben 10 universe. That would come a little down the line, because I think for season 1 of Ben 10, the very first season, that the first episode when Ben gets the Omnitrix, he turns into Heat Blast at first and burns down an entire forest. And funny enough, there's 4 scenes in Weapons, so it's almost like thinking about this, maybe the more I think about it, a match made in heaven, because maybe seeing that post about, potential Ben 10 fan cast sort of maybe lingered in my mind, but then it sort of, really lit up like a light bulb once I watched Weapons the second time, which I did a review of with 2 friends last night. So I'll conclude this drawing by showing off Gray Matter and another Ben 10 alien, Ripjaws, and one more that I did not include in my last art blog, but that was Swampfire, who will come a little later down the line, which I would portray by the guy who played Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon, which, not to be the dead horse, but what made that movie so successful is that it was just pretty much live action How to Train Your Dragon. Almost nothing was changed. So similarly, for season 1, episode 1 of Ben 10, I want it to be straight from that series of the very first episode that came out of Ben 10, where he's in the forest, he's going camping with his annoying cousin and his annoying grandpa, and or is from his perspective his annoying cousin and grandpa, but then they get closer and things work out well, and they become stronger. So yeah, overall I keep the episode 1 pilot Ben 10 episode, live action version of the pilot Ben 10 episode, and until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more soon. How'd you enjoy the movie pitch? I hope so, but goodbye.